Hi there, welcome to another Tiny Tuesday. I'm Christy from here at My Artful Adventures, and today we're going to talk about how to make an easy little shaker card element. And so I thought that we would use, this was our last Tiny Tuesday thing. This was a little mini envelope, tab bound little folder. It could be any size. This was just made with some 6x6 envelopes. But anyway, I thought, oh, why not use this for the perfect thing to start something on? And I thought, oh, let's just make a little shaker element today. Now, I want to show you, I'm going to use an envelope that's got a fairly big window element in it. And I'm going to, when I was trying to decide if this would fit, I just had opened this and I just stuck this whole thing in there to make sure that it would cover, you know, clear around the edges. And so I thought, well, that was easy. That was easy enough to figure it out that way. And so we're just going to cut this. I'm just going to cut it like this to give us a place to start. And I don't know exactly how much of this that we're going to need, but this will just release our whole window section. And you know, I like to use something for a backing that's got a picture or something in it. And depending on how big your surface is that you're going, or your window, how big that is, you know, there's lots of things that you can use. Lots of cut apart cards that come in scrapbook things. Those are good things. This is actually something that is in the printables that I have been using that come with my newsletter. Now I've got this icky part up here and I'm going to end up cutting that off, but I need to know exactly how big this little section is on my my cards that I'm going to use, or not cards. Oh my goodness. So these are 3 1/8 by 6 1/4. So that's the size that I'm going to need to use. So I think what I'll do is I'll make my shaker element up here with a little bit of this sticking out, you know, from inside. And then it's kind of dirty, but you know what? We're going to put some fun stuff in it, and I think it'll be fine. And then on the bottom, it's not enough to cover the whole thing, and we'll use another strip of this to go on the bottom, and we'll just make a little pocket or something down there. I think that'll be fine. And now you can do whatever you want to with the outsides of this. Since we know how wide we need our strip for our little page right here, I'm just going to cut a strip. And then I can decide, you know, where I want that to sit. So I'm just going to do this. Now, if you have a smaller piece to start with, that's probably going to be great. Okay, so now I know this has to be 3. It can be 3 1/8. Boy, I haven't given myself a lot of room here. I think I'm just going to go ahead and do the 3 1/8 right here, and just go ahead, and then I've got a piece that'll already fit the page. And then while I'm looking at this and seeing where I want that to fit, I think that'll work great. Before I go any further, I'm going to straighten up a couple of these lines and make sure that that they are straight, because if I don't do that now, it's going to cause me problems. So I think right now I'm going to line this up in the window. I can see where that is, and I can see along the side here, and I'm just going to straighten the edge up, and that way that's going to help me a lot going forward. And I can do that on all of these edges. So it looks like we only have like about 1/4 of an inch or so on here that is going to need to stay on here. And now we can do this. We can locate where this sits in here, and we could just go ahead and cut this so that that fits right there. And so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the top and the bottom. I kind of like it right there. I like the way that looks in there. So I'm just going to cut this right now. And I think then this will be an easier way for us to move forward with this. I don't know, why is it sometimes you think something is going to just be so easy, and then all of a sudden it kind of goes sideways. But you know what? That's the way projects are sometimes. Okay, so this is our true edge of our project. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this over onto here and mark it on the envelope so that I know exactly where the edges are. And the edges are going to be important because that's where we're going to put the adhesive that we need to use. Okay, let's go ahead and cut this off. And now I'm afraid I'm not going to have enough room for what I was planning to do. We'll see. We're going to do it anyway. Okay, I've got this foam adhesive tape. It's double-sided. It's not very thick, and we might have to go ahead and put 2 layers on. Now, this is a little bit small for what I was going to do, but I'm just going to do it anyway. I mean, my page is kind of small. So we're going to put this one here. I'm going to rip this up here. We want it going around all of the window part of our envelope. Okay? And so I'm just going to stick that on here. And just tear it off and go all the way around the 4 edges. Okay, so now I need to take off this liner paper, and because some of my little shaker goodies that I'm going to put in might be a little bit too tall for this, I'm going to put a second layer on. But you've got to take your little liner strips off first before you put on your second layer. And then also I'm going to put a tiny bit of glue on here so that it will be easier for me. 2 things. It'll be easier for me to get my strip on straight on top of one that already has adhesive. And then the other part is that I'll make sure that it is able to, you know, stay adhered on there really well. So I'm only going to do a little bit at a time. Oh. Okay, there we go. I'm just going to put some across here. Put a second layer on. This will give my shaker elements a little bit more room to shake around. So we'll put that on there. Just tear that off and get our next one on. So again, we're just going to do this all the way around our 4 sides here. Now, one of the things I'll mention at this point is if you're using sequins, sometimes sequins have a habit of getting kind of staticky. And if that happens, then they don't shake around as well. And one of the things that you can do is if you've got one of those embossing buddies that you use before you use embossing powder, if you've got some of that, you can use a little bit of that in there. You could also take a little, just on the tip of your finger, a tiny bit of cornstarch and just rub it on this window. The elements that I'm going to use on the inside of the window, don't use too much or it'll give it a cloudy look. But this way, today, I'm not going to worry about that because I don't think mine are going to be too prone to, you know, to sticking to this little element. You guys, I made one of these the other day and it just was so quick and easy. I don't know why I've struggled with the paper on this today. Now the things I'm using here are from some printables that I have. They come out in my newsletter each month. I used to drip things out each week, but I've gone to putting them all together in the month. And we're doing a series that are these little buildings. And we've been having so much fun with them. Little buildings and scenes. So it's the village. I call it the Village Creative Series. So we've been having a lot of fun with those. And like I said, I'm going to stop worrying about whether that's going to be in the way or not. Oh, and that, oh, you guys, that is not dry, and now my stuff wants to stick to it. I have to wait a second and let this dry. I'll be right back. Okay, I spared you from having to watch all of that, and I've got the liner off now too. Now, this is the point where we've got our adhesive foam on here. It's made it a little bit of a higher edge around our window. And now I'm going to put in my shaker elements right here. And you can put in, you know, whatever you want to. I'm just going to put them there, kind of shake them around a little bit. And now I'm going to lay this over the top here. And try and get that on kind of straight. I need to make sure that I've got one edge that's at the top, because that is how we measured this to fit. So we'll just put that down here, and we'll just press that down. And now we've got our little, oh my goodness, this little piece. I tell you, this is just not behaving. I'm going to have to tuck that back in there. I think it's all sticky enough. I'm good. I'm good. Okay, so we got these funny little shaker things here. Okay, now that does, you know, so it's like, okay, well now what? Well, now you would just put it on your page. It's just some kind of fun things, right? And I put kind of a variety of stuff in there. Some different, these are just little seed beads. I've still got glue that hasn't completely dried. When that glue is dry, it will be clear, so I'm not worried about that. Now we can put this on here, and since I said that this part down here was, I knew this wasn't going to be long enough, and now I can just take that same paper I was using and figure out something down here. I think this would be fun to use for some kind of a sidewalk element. Okay, I've got that cut off here. And let's go ahead and let's glue this down to our page so we can get that out of the way. I went ahead and I cut a piece off. I didn't figure you needed to watch the chaos of that. I tell you what, this was the time I had set aside to do this. It's like nothing has gone right. It's just like, well, this is the time I had to set aside, so this is it. This is when it's happening, people. Now, one thing that's nice about this is because it's got this tab binding, we have a little bit more room there, I think. Yeah, there we go. It'll be fine. I'm just not going to worry about it, you guys. It's going to work out fine and be kind of a cute little element. And now I'm going to, let's do a little thing here, like a little thumb punch here. And let's put a little bit of ink on here. I had this tea dye ink. I'm just going to use that. And sometimes, even though you can't really see it, you know, it doesn't seem like you're seeing it. You know, once you get it all on there around the edges, then you can tell it's really making a little bit of a difference. And sometimes it doesn't need to make a lot of difference, just a tiny bit. So now I'm just going to put this on here at the bottom. And first, I think before we do that, I think I'll go ahead and I'll ink around that whole thing. So look, now that that's that tab binding, that makes it easy for us to just go ahead and ink around the edges. And I don't care if some of that white is showing. And I might, if it looks like that the edge of that tape is showing too much under there, I'm going to put something else over it. And I have pulled out a little bit of, now this is going to be covered up, so I can just go ahead and ink this. I did find this little bit of rickrack that I thought I would never use that on something else, but you know, I kind of like the tone of that. It's kind of a funky golden greenish color, and that would be kind of fun for the background to this. But these are just, you know, the shaker cards are just something fun, right? Just a fun little element, something to have that's different and fun. And let's go ahead and put in our little pocket piece. This is an awful tiny pocket, right? But it's a tiny little book anyway. I'm just going to place this right here at the bottom. Just like that. And I've got a little building, one of my little buildings that goes with the set. This is one of those small ones, and I can put that right there and still have my pocket. So I think I'll just put a little glue on the very bottom of it. put that there. And I had some words here, and I thought about showing you guys this. Sometimes if you've got a tiny, strip of words or something that you're having trouble with, I put this on a Post-it note, and this is the sticky side of the Post-it note, so it's right there. And sometimes if you have trouble with keeping your little thing in place or whatever, guys, you can just use a regular paintbrush and grab up some of that ink and from your pad and just use it like that and just swish it on there, and that'll work too. I don't know where my little brushes are that I usually have. I've got some of those tiny little brushes with the long handles. And then just remember to wash it out. Just use some of your dish soap or something and wash it out and dry it, and then you're good to go. And you can even layer things on your windows. Look here, I'm going to put this. A market full of small treasures. I'm just going to put that on here today. Why not, right? I'm just going to slice that there. I like putting words on these little pages. Or maybe we could put that down here. If you want it, it doesn't matter. You could put it up here. You could put it down here. Actually, I think I'm going to put it down here today. But you can. Don't forget that you can layer on top of your little shaker elements. And just that gives it another little level of dimension and interest. And I'm just gonna put a dab of glue, and then we'll be done. Whoops. There we go. We got a little pocket there. Not sure what I'm gonna put in my little pocket, but look, we could maybe we put our receipt in there. But you've got something easy to put in there, you guys. Anyway, just something fun. It's an easy way to make a shaker card. Although, I'm sorry, this may have looked more difficult than it really is. Oh my goodness, some days are like that, right, you guys? And we could put a little bit of trim around here, jazz it up a little bit more. Maybe I will do that. I don't know. What do you think? Anyway, just something a little fun. I think I will. I'm just going to glue that on. Thanks for watching, you guys. I actually have a method that is a lot easier than this, and maybe I'll just show that to you next time. I hope you'll come back another time and see Tiny Tuesday. Maybe it won't be so chaotic. And if you've liked this, I hope that you will like and subscribe to the channel. You guys have a great day, and I will see you next time, next Tiny Tuesday.